Hi, I'm Rebecca Ryan. I'm a shamanic witch here in Melbourne, Victoria. Depression is affecting an enormous number of us. In fact, in Australia it's the third largest health concern. So the individual health problem in Australia now accounts for 1 million of us experiencing a depressive illness each year. So this year alone, 1 million Australians will experience a depressive illness. What makes us depressed? How do we take care of ourselves and our communities through depression, and how do we come out the other side, if that's possible, if we're open to that? Some of the things that I've seen in my research begin with the DSM-4, so that's the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. It's the general assessment for what is a mood disorder, what is an anxiety disorder. It's what physicians and treatment professionals use to diagnose things. Yeah? So depression is considered a mood disorder, and there are different varieties of depression. Without getting into that, generally depression tends to hang around, so it's ongoing and it disrupts our everyday lives. So it steals our pleasure. Yeah? So we no longer function as we used to function before we had depression, and we will function differently when the depression is finished. There are some baseline factors that are thought to contribute to depression, the first being genetics. So depression tends to run in families, it runs somehow in genes, it's thought. Brain chemistry is another baseline factor, so that's imbalances of serotonin is quite a common one, dopamine, etc. Neurotransmitters are thought to be involved in depressive illnesses. Stressful events, obviously, so the loss of a loved one, lots of a quick succession of major events, even if they're considered happy, can still change brain chemistry, change the way we feel at the beginning of, and the end of days, change our energy levels, etc. So major life events or stressful events. And then gender, so depression affects women more than men, almost twice as much, in fact. Depression in women could be related to gender-specific issues, so pregnancy, menopause, etc. But women are generally at least twice as susceptible to experiencing depression in our world. There are other factors as well which I see, and these I've called our group missing pieces, because they are things which we miss out generally as communities. So this is not specific to individuals. It seems to be how our culture is running at the moment, and I believe these make us particularly susceptible to depression as a group. And the first is a lack of context. So without context, the question, where am I, it can remain unanswered for a lifetime. So this is the lack of context that includes a lack of a strong connection with, an identity with the land at our feet. So this is a quest to find home, a struggle to find where I fit in all of this. This is one of our group missing pieces, I believe. The second is a lack of rights. So as a group, answering the question, who am I? The passing of milestones, so boys into men, women as they begin to menstruate, and then into motherhood, and then into their older years, without an understanding of how to celebrate these rights or an ability to prepare, be in them, and then say goodbye as the old chapters are finished in our lives. The question of who am I can remain largely unanswered, or at least vague in our heads, and without that context, again, we are open to feeling like we might be lost at sea, feeling as if we're not quite sure what our contribution is, or feeling like our contribution isn't what it's expected to be. The last is a lack of fulfillment. So this is the question, what am I doing this for? We live in a particularly mechanistic environment, which I'm sure you're all aware of, and this can hinder our ability to follow our body's natural rhythms. Without this, we often miss the chance to stop and smell the roses, so we can become perfectionistic. This overly mechanistic sort of day in and day out kind of thing can hinder our chances and even our thoughts to stop and smell the roses, to be able to begin, be in the middle and finish something and then have some time off. So this affects the what am I doing this for, or what am I getting up in the morning for. With that group missing piece, it means that often we do what's expected of us, so we carry unconscious programming through others, through our culture and through what we've seen as children, and we live that kind of life without the chance without taking the chance to stop and check in with ourselves, to understand who we are, where we fit and what's expected of us decade by decade, or moment by moment even. So these are the things which I see are making us as a group particularly prone to experiencing depression, and looking at some of the processes to address these can enormously balance us and affect our ability to either go through depression more quickly, to not be depressed in the first place, or to help us recover from depressive instances. Thank you.